Hello, everyone. Welcome to BizChicks TV. This is the place where you can find tips and tools to help you do business better. We're here to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run and to take the hassle out of your hustle. And today I am here with my friend and colleague, Miss Francine Gregory, real estate entrepreneur and tech diva. I'm Terralina from California Cover Ups, and we're the Biz Chicks. We're going to be talking tech and English today. In other words, we're going to be talking tech in a way that's easy to understand and apply to your business. So I want you to stay tuned. If you do not have a pencil and pen, now's the time to run and get it. Oh my gosh, because we're going to be dropping nuggets all morning long. So with that, I just want to say we always like to get started with this week in tech history. But before we do that, we want to remind you that we'd love for you to be a part of the Biz Chicks community. And so you can always text Biz to 33777 and sign up and be a part of this wonderful community. We love to share what it is you do, how you serve, and who you help. So with that, we want you to know that there's also bizchicks.net as an entry point to the community. We love serving you. Let us know what it is that we can do to help you run a profitable business that's fun to run. As you know, our motto here at BizChicks is we want to take the hassle out your hustle. So come on over and join the community. Let us all be a part of helping one another be successful. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the broadcast. Fran, what do you have for us today?
Well, in this day in tech history, we're going to start. I think we talked about the poem. Oh, maybe we didn't. All right, so let's just do this. We're going to start with some gaming stuff.
Okay.
Tetris is born June 6, 1984. Alexei Pajatnov first releases the game Tetris in the USSR.
Mhm.
Tetris will become one of the most popular puzzle video games of all time. Originally programmed for a Soviet-built Electronica 60 computer, the game was soon ported to the IBM PC, where it spread quickly throughout Moscow and the rest of the USSR, eventually making its way to Hungary. From there, the game was discovered, and questionable attempts to license it for sale by various software companies were made. By 1989, half a dozen different companies claimed rights to create and distribute Tetris for home computers, game consoles, and handheld systems. Several highly complex and drawn out legal battles ensued to settle who had the rightful licenses and authority to sell Tetris.
Oh, okay.
Um, Ironically, the gentleman who created it was not able to make any money because for years, because as an employee for the Soviet government, the Soviet state ended up owning the rights. It was only when
Mm.
the rights reverted from the old Soviet government to Pachitnov, he moved to the US in 1996, and that he was able to form a company and collect royalties. Then he went on to work for Microsoft, trading one.
Oh,
Okay. Yes, went on to work for Microsoft.
okay.
Yeah, so Tetris. So June 6, 2005, in a keynote address at Apple's Worldwide Developers Conference, which we'll talk a little bit about that,
Mm.
Steve Jobs announces that Macintosh computers will transition from PowerPC to Intel processors and demonstrate Mac OS X running on a computer with Intel Pentium 4 processor. He reveals at that time that Apple had been secretly preparing for a possible transition to Intel for many years. Unbeknownst to the public, for every version of Mac OS X release, Apple had actually prepared a version running on an Intel processor,
Mm.
making the transition to Intel. Apple paved the way for the resurgence of the Macintosh computer by making it more compatible with software for Microsoft Windows. And as you know, now Mac has its own uh, processors, the M1 and the M2 chip, and R1 for Vision Pro, but they now have their own.
Okay. Yes, and now I understand what they mean by okay. So they changed chips.
The chips are the things that make the stuff work.
The decisions. It's that little square with all the
Right,
little bumps on it inside the computer on the
right,
motherboard.
right.
Yes.
And those it is. And when you first start off, you might need to collaborate with other people.
Oh, sort of like Tesla and their collaboration with Ford and GM for their charging stations.
Oh,
Because
you mean yeah, like
because they didn't build an infrastructure.
yes, Ford and GM did not build an infrastructure. Tesla did.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but Tesla is playing nice to be able to allow
Accommodate
other,
people for the transition. Yeah.
right, because it needs to have a standardized uh,
Charging what do you
system,
call it? System.
charging
Okay.
ports. It really does.
Mm-hmm.
Tesla's is simple and it runs.
Mm-hmm.
I've been, when I was driving that Nissan Leaf, and I went
Yes.
to charge, and a lot of the charging things that were not Tesla were not available. They were broken. Nobody's checking on them. And I was like, this is not cool.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Tesla checks on their stuff all to, you know what I mean? And it'll tell you if one is not working or
Oh, they got people.
yeah, and the others are supposed to do that too, but it wasn't. It's just different, you know. One is more proficient, the other is not. I just did not like it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so where are we now with this week?
Okay, so
I'm
Palm,
sorry. I went
yeah,
down that rabbit trail.
no problem. Palm Incorporated releases, and this is June 2009, which is not that very long ago. Palm Inc. releases the Palm Pre smartphone through Sprint in an attempt to regain market share after their Trio line of smartphones is dwarfed by Apple's iPhone.
Mm.
Featuring the Linux-based Palm Web OS operating
I don't
system.
even remember that.
Pre received some praise from technical reviewers, but due to poor marketing and the rapid pace in which Apple dominates the new world of smartphones, Palm's series of phones and the Web OS never really have a chance to gain a foothold. Within the course of 1 year, Palm is purchased by HP for, get ready for this is 2009, $1.2 billion.
So what?
Okay, yeah. So 1 year later, after just 2 months of abysmal sales of their touchpad tablets, HP halted production of all Web OS-based devices. HP later released Web OS under an open source license, sold the operating system to electronics manufacturer LG, and the Web OS and Palm patents to Qualcomm. Today,
Oh,
LG licenses WebOS from Qualcomm as an operating system for their smart televisions, smart refrigerators, smart projectors. WebOS also lives on in open source form.
mm. Wow.
1.2 billion for something that wasn't selling.
I don't under who made that. I was about to ask who made that decision.
Okay.
You know, and then I get a bonus for being a CEO. Really? See,
HP.
ladies, we are really equipped to be CEOs. We can do this. We can we can make if they give us $1 billion mistake grace, we can do it.
Hey, Ann. Um, Michael Eaton, this is June 7th, 1983. Michael
Mhm.
Eaton is granted a patent for the AT command set for modems, which had created a standard language for interacting with modems 2 years earlier. The rights for this command set were purchased by the Hayes Corporation and incorporated into the Hayes Smart Modem 300. as the Hayes command set. The protocol will become an industry standard used for years to come. That you use it. Okay. Okay. This is a command protocol. Okay. Really geeky modem technology patented. Okay. So I'm going to just skip right over that because that was over my head. And I'm like, okay, I don't even want to try and do that. June 7th, 2000. The United States District Judge Thomas Penfold Jackson orders the breakup of Microsoft into two companies, one that will develop operating systems and one that will develop other applications. Microsoft immediately announces that it will file an appeal of the judgment, what would have been monumental event, which would have been a monumental event in the history of the technology industry, never actually happens, however. The ruling is overturned just a year later. Microsoft will be sanctioned, but it stays one company.
I don't know what the purpose was, but okay. I'm glad they were able to stay one company. It just didn't seem fair to me.
That didn't make sense either. You know, you got to be two companies, operating system and then other applications. Really?
I don't get it.
So. I don't either. Let's see, where do I want to go? I'm going to do my final story on motion picture. June 9th, 1993, the motion picture Jurassic Park premieres in Washington, D.C., the highest grossing film in history at the time. The contributions of Jurassic Park to the field of special effects is perhaps as important as the original Star Wars movie 16 years prior. During the production of the movie, the decision was made to incorporate the use of computer-generated imagery, CGI for short, in a large scale. By interweaving the use of CGI and animatronics, the movie's special effects were of a realism unprecedented at the time, and for many still to this day. Jurassic Park jump-started a wave of movies that made heavy use of CGI throughout the rest of the 90s, and at present, the use of CGI pioneered by the movie is now entirely commonplace. Because the dinosaurs did look real, just saying.
They did.
And so that is tech history. Now, I want to do a game, a puzzle. Okay. You ready? Okay, here we go. 3 headlines and a lie. 3 of these headlines are real, and 1 is a faker. So anyway, number 1, can you spot the odd one out? No. This is number 1. No, Sweden did not declare sex a sport. Okay. 2, hackers replaced every listing on e-com platform Ding Dong with used cigarettes. 3, Salesforce tells employees it will donate $10 per day to charity if they come back to the office. 4, scantily clad witches caught munching on deer carcass in bizarre security cam footage. Which one is not which one is not a real story?
I'm going to say the one about Salesforce.
Okay.
They're going to give up $10.
So we can play a little bit of music and let's see which one it is. Here's my okay. Anybody want to take a guess? Hey, Dr. Tachi and Y'all want to take a guess as to which one is not the real story? Okay, Anne says number 3 is not the real story.
Is that Salesforce?
I gotta go back. Yes, she says
I
Salesforce.
agree. I agree with Ann.
Okay. Okay. Let's see what the actual answer is. I'm trying to punch buttons. Okay, so number 1, no, Sweden did not declare sex a sport. That was a headline. 2, we're trying to decide which one of these 3 is not the one. Keep pushing wrong buttons here. Hold on. Okay. 2, hackers replace every listing on e-com platform Ding Dong with used cigarettes. 3, Salesforce tells employees it will donate $10 per day to charity if they come back to the office. And 4, scantily clad witches caught munching on deer carcass in a bizarre security cam footage. And you ready? It is number 2. Hackers.
They didn't replace all the listings?
Every listing on e-com platform Ding Dong with used cigarettes. No, they did not.
Huh.
In Sweden, I'm going to put these up. Let's see if I can show them to you. Sweden it was Snopes. Snopes, you know, the thing that you do a fact check.
Yeah.
Yeah. So they did run that story. And then when you go to hackers did not, there's a Jiffy on there, but it's no story. There was not a headline for that. And Salesforce did tell its workers it will donate $10 per day to charity if they come back to the office.
Is it per employee or?
Yep. He has complained about the CEO, Mark Benioff has complained about the loss of office culture due to work from home, though some workers have reportedly said layoffs hurt that culture more. And he, so he was so desperate to see his employees back in the office that the company will donate a little less than the price of a McDonald's Big Mac meal to charity for every day workers physically drag themselves to the office.
Wow. So in other words, they need to take a pay cut because, you know, it costs to go into the office.
It really does. And see, nobody talks about that aspect of it because now to go in, you got gas, babysitting,
parking,
all other stuff, parking. Ooh, don't talk about parking at $14 an hour in San Francisco.
Lunch.
Yes.
So, you know, if you don't want to pay that horrendous fee for parking, then now you're on public transportation or you're in some kind of ride share or something. But it's an additional cost.
Ann says, forget office culture. I'd rather stay remote. I would too. And the last one, she says is it really about culture or getting the job done?
Yeah.
Getting the work done. I just want to get the work done. Don't ask me. Dr. Tachi said to hell with the office.
You know something, and I'm talking to several people who are in the job market, and they won't even consider anything that's not remote at this point. They're not trying to go back.
Yeah. Hey, Dr. Tachi, let me turn you up.
Yeah, absolutely.
Go ahead.
The lucrative thing of being in the office is so that people can watch over your neck and micromanage. Because honestly, there is no earthly reason that if you have an individual assignment and you get it done, that you need to be there. It is the thing of I have people underneath me and I'm responsible for them and I need to make sure they're doing what they do. Where it's been shown before that there is a lot of productivity when people are allowed to work remotely. So I don't. There is. I understand the company culture and office culture, but let's be real. Not every place is Apple. Not every place is Google. Not every place has a slide for your desk. So the majority of places that you're working are humdrum home. So unless you are going to actually put some time and effort into cultivating an office culture and workplace environment that fosters growth, which many don't, why do you want them there? You don't even want them there. You're telling them that I really don't want you here. I just need the money you're going to make us by not taking them into consideration.
Mm. And Anne says, if you can't trust them to do the job, then there is another issue.
Mm-hmm. That's another story.
Right. Okay. Let me do my work because I don't need you to look at me while I'm working.
Well, the thing is that they like Dr. Tachi said, they've shown that people are more productive from home. That they actually had an increase in productivity,
which does increase the revenue for the shareholders. But y'all want to have, that old school.
I think it's because they leased these buildings for like 99 years and foolishness like that. And now they got these empty buildings.
But bringing the people back in is not going to make them not pay it anymore.
Well, maybe they need to make a shift to do something else with the buildings. And it's a big problem in San Francisco. Right. They've got all these empty buildings in it.
It's true. But having the people come into the building is not going to make the building.
But they also have a housing shortage.
Right. There's all kind of stuff, but it's not going to
make a shift to something else.
Yes, but it's still not going to become the people coming back to work still isn't going to solve or coming back in the building, right? Because now you still got insurance just went back up. All kind of stuff.
All of that.
In air, electricity, all kind of stuff is still happening when you got to go back in.
Mm-hmm.
It seems to me your costs are down when people are working remote.
I think so, but hey, who am I?
But what can we say? All right, and so the last story about the scantily clad witches caught munching on deer carcass, it was actually reported by Fox6now.com. Wow. And it was published June 6th. A nurse and nature lover in Canada reportedly captured footage of what she said appeared two witches holding a carcass eating ritual with the camera she set up near her home. And she said, I don't know what the heck was up with that. It really freaked us out. It's not something you see every day. After coming across a deer carcass in a garden on her property, Stanhope, which is the lady who put this camera up, explained that she set up a camera to surveil any animals that might take interest in the dead deer. Me and my grandpa put up a trail camera to see if we could see animals, and we got a bobcat on camera, which was pretty cool, she said, but added that her 76-year-old grandfather, Bob, was horrified when he checked the footage and saw what appeared to be scantily clad woman chomping down on the carcass at night.
Okay, can we move on?
Yeah,
I'm just trying to unsee that. Okay. Oh my gosh.
So yes, and
we just have a comment from Mark about corporate America.
Go ahead.
He says this is because corporate America fails in monitoring productivity over presence. This is the problem. Where how I work should be selected by the person that you trusted enough to hire. Am I meeting defined expectations on time? in an above satisfactory fashion. Okay, and then we got some more comments. Uh, Mark says, I eat my caucuses off camera. Oh my gosh.
Mhm. Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, Terry, before you jump in, because we're talking about history, right?
Mhm.
So Apple is making history again.
Yes.
They have just introduced the Apple Vision Pro,
Hmm.
which is an augmented or AR headset that Apple announced this week. It's the first major product Apple has introduced since the Apple Watch. And the Vision Pro is a spatial computer that blends digital content with the physical world. It is Apple's first 3D camera, and it can capture 3D photos and videos. Um, but the Vision Pro is expected to be available for purchase in early 2024. But it is, I watched the
Demo.
what it's supposed to do. I am very intrigued, especially because I like dabbling in the metaverse. And Dr. Tasha, you can weigh in on this. It is not for the masses right now. The price point is not for the masses, but the stuff that it can do, that's major.
It is not for the masses. That is 2 or 3 mortgage payments for some people. It's $34.99. You don't fool me with a $1 Apple. It's $3,500, and like she said, it's supposed to debut next year. And here's the thing: number one, I'm not a fan of buying the first generation of anything, because that's really where they work out their kinks and bugs. And to me, that's an expensive price point to be experimenting. Number two, I do see where the price point comes from, because it's not just a set of VR goggles. It is supposed to be an accoutrement or a replacement for some things. Like, you can actually use it as a computer. There are other things that you can do with it. The other thing with it is that it's heavier than some of the VR goggles we're used to.
Really?
Metal and glass, as opposed to plastic like the Meta Quest or some of these other VR goggles. So you don't know what the fatigue to your head is going to be like, not to mention the eye strain that you may get because of using these. The other downside of this is that the battery life is 2 to 3 hours. At $3,500, I'm going to need you to last till next week, even when I am using it. So everything is all good, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, it could last for you don't have to charge it for 3 days." Yeah, but once you use it, 10 minutes later, you need to charge it. So I think one thing that not just Apple, but all of these electronics makers need to work on is battery life.
Right.
One thing I noticed about the battery with this is it's not inside the headset itself. It's connected to a power bank, which is connected to a wire, which you could put in your back pocket, front pocket, or you could sit it on the table or couch next to you, or depending on where you are. So I do think it is impressive. It is an impressive piece, but it is not for the masses. And I think part of the problem of it not being for the masses is because the metaverse or, in VR spaces has still not attracted the masses.
Correct.
So you are looking at making a niche product for a niche segment of people. I will say they need to figure out a way to make it cheaper if they want that to really be what it is. And that, in a sense, won't happen until we figure out real utility for the metaverse and bring the masses in. That's what I would say.
Right. And Meta has another headset that was about $3,000 too, and it was put together in 2016. But they are not pushing that. You know what I mean? And it was for work and some other stuff. But I'm liking the spatial computing for this, because now I don't have to have a laptop. This is its own. This is not connected to your Apple device. This is an Apple device. It is not a.
It's self-contained.
It is self-contained. It is not like, okay, I need to hook it up to my phone. This is its own device, and it's a what is it called? Vision iOS.
It's called the Vision. Isn't it the Vision Pro?
It's the Vision Pro, but Vision iOS is the operating system for it. So
did you say it was an R something?
Say again.
You said something about R iOS, the chip.
The R1, there's two chips in there. There's the M2 chip and the R1 chip that are in that makes everything run. So the Vision iOS is just like there's an iPad iOS, there is a Mac OS. This is its own unique thing, but all of your apps and everything flow with it. I was like, okay, I can see this, and you probably shouldn't be on it more. Okay, here's the thing. You probably shouldn't be on your regular computer more than 2 hours at a time. You're supposed to get up and move around and not just be on it. But I agree. I need more than 2 hour battery life. You can still plug it in and keep it going. But the other thing is, you know, Dr. Tachi, with the Quest, you can't go outside with it. The Meta Quest, you can't take it outside. This, you can go outside.
Oh. Okay, so you can be at the beach. You can be, it's more mobile.
Wait a minute, Terry. Go ahead, Dr. Tachi.
Oh, sorry, Terry. Yeah, I agree. There are so many things that are great features of this that are not of the other one. With regard to, yeah, you're right. You probably should not be like a drone working on a computer for more than, half an hour at a time without taking a break. The reality is, when you look at how people use VR goggles, that's not the way it works.
Right.
And so people, and especially if you're supposed to be getting work done, often you can be sitting there for hours at a time, right?
Right.
And now, if you are starting a project or doing something on that, and then 2 hours later it conks out, what do you do then? What I don't know is there the ability to plug it up?
Yes.
Would you want but would you want that on your eyes while it's plugged in?
Well, see, and that's the other thing. Even with a VR headset, you can rig it up. I've seen people rig up just the regular MetaQuest or HP or whoever has the headset. They rig it up with, you can plug it in. The gamers plug in to keep going.
That is true. That is very true. Now, should you? That's another argument.
Yes, but they're like all in, and they're all geared up, and they've added battery packs and all kind of stuff. I was like, that is so serious. But if you're playing the game, I do think you should take breaks or what have you. And this is the first out the gate. They're probably going to be making adjustments, just like they've done with the Apple Watch. It's like, okay, so now I have the version, the 3, and we're up on what, 8 or something. They're going to keep making adjustments. Go ahead, Terry.
I want you to know Mark's got some comments over here. He says he'll be happy to try Apple Vision Pro and will be even happier when one of us kindly purchases it for him. He says, you can DM me for my mailing address. No need to gift wrap. Thanks. He goes on to say, I want to hear
for the foreseeable future.
He goes on to say, I want to hear Dr. Tachi say accoutrement again. She's so fancy.
That's hilarious.
Yes. So we've talked about things that happened in history, and then some things that are going to be
groundbreaking history going on.
Yeah, because this is as close to Ready Player One that I've seen. Dr. Do you agree? I'm not seeing, although Ready Player One has where there's no haptics in this. You understand what I mean? And that's one thing we didn't talk about. you move stuff with your eyes and pinching your fingers. There is no controller.
Yeah, you blink to scroll, and yeah.
And select with pinching your finger. Go ahead, Dr. T.
Yeah, and that's the thing. I was watching. If you're not following Marcus Brownlee, you should be, but I suspect that the both of you are. But he's amazing, and he did a very comprehensive, complete review of the Vision Pro. And he talked about the fact of, okay, well, you're in a world like, there are no haptics, right? Obviously, which means touch. So you stick out your hand, you're in this world, and then a butterfly comes over, and you hold out your hand, and the butterfly will come over to you and land on your finger, but then you don't feel it land on your finger, right? So that's the separation between this virtual world and the physical world where there is touch. So it will be very interesting to see how they do those types of things where they start to include haptics, although there is also the conversation and the talk, especially in the metaverse, about personal space and people not wanting to be touched and things like that. So you're having to reckon with that as well. So it's interesting.
Yeah, it was real interesting. I think, where was I? I was in VR chat. And it was a church service that I was in VR chat, and people were just, hey, can I get a hug? I'm like, I'm watching them, because I'm lurking at this point because I need to see what's happening. But people, you do have to watch your space. You know what I mean? Like, okay, and that's what I did like about the one that just closed down. VR.
Alt Space VR.
Yeah, Alt Space VR. That you had a boundary. And so this is going to be interesting. Haptics, boundaries, and I'm curious to see how it works in the metaverse, because now they're going to have developers make some stuff to, can I go into Horizon World, VR chat, or some other places?
And the other thing is too, not to get too heady with the metaverse talk, you do have some, so of course, like you said, with Ready Player B, you do have that avatar, which is a representation of yourself. It doesn't have to be an actual representation. It can be something that you dream up, because you have ways to make it look like what you want. But it's a representation of yourself. And the problem with having so many different metaverse spaces is that very few of them, most of them are not connected. So to be able to use one avatar is difficult, although Ready Player Me allows you to use it across several different spaces, like Spatial, like Mona. There are a lot of different spaces you can, but it's not every single space. And of course, what happens is then the proprietary nature of these different spaces and who, quote, owns them creeps in, which is why, the way, it's better to have these things decentralized. Because when you have like Horizon Worlds, that's Facebook. Meta, that is very centralized. So they have control over everything. And they are not going to let probably any other avatar come inside those worlds. And this is where you get those roadblocks where you can't fully experience what VR can do and what it's supposed to be like, because somebody owns it and they want to make money off of things.
Right. So we're going to see how this plays out. But this is definitely history making, because this is a big leap in the AR VR space. And people have been rumoring about what they were going to do. They thought they were going to come out with some glasses. They just bypassed the glasses altogether, which didn't work with Google glasses anyway. And so I don't know. And that's all I have for you in tech history.
Okay. Well, I am concerned about what Dr. Tachi said about the weight being metal and glass versus plastic.
Yeah, it's
heavy.
Yes, but when you put it on, you just don't wear it forever. You're gonna have to take it off. Like even with the MetaQuest 2, I can't wear those all day. I'm not going to sit there all day because it's on your face and it is definitely a difference.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to have to sit upright. There's some ergonomics that happens with all of them.
Yeah.
Because it's not a natural part of your body. So
Mm-hmm. And the weight on your neck. Yeah. Okay.
kind of like putting the basket on your head and walking through the marketplace, you got to balance that. But
Okay.
All right, Terry, you're up. What do you got for us today?
Okay. Well, let me move over here. I've been, for some reason, I've been drawn toward articles about robots lately. And this is about how the agricultural industry is integrating AI into actual harvesting, planting, etc. The whole process of growing our food. So yeah, I know. So I think I need to change this because I'm not Francine Gregory, but okay. Thank you, Fran. So I'm going to share a couple of videos here because it's just difficult for me to explain this stuff. But I think when you see it and hear them talk about it, it helps. So we're going to start with this one. And let me scroll up and see if I can get this.
Exactly 3 years ago, we introduced FarmBot Genesis, humanity's first open source CNC farming machine. Since then, we've manufactured and shipped over 1,000 kits to early adopters in more than 65 countries. Together with our community, we've refined this technology, and now we're ready to bring FarmBot to the masses. Say hello to FarmBot Express and Express XL, the first FarmBots designed and built for everyone. FarmBot Express grows food for you by taking care of your garden 24/7. It precisely sows seeds according to your desired layout, and then waters each plant individually to take care of every plant perfectly. It can grow many crops at once and even accommodates large plants spreading over the front and back of the bed. Covering 4 times the area, Express XL is big enough to grow veggies for your whole family. Both of these new FarmBots come 95% pre-assembled in the box, so you can get set up in just 1 hour. Simply follow the online instructions to complete the assembly, mount FarmBot onto your raised bed, and plug it in. Robotic gardening has never been this easy. Using the FarmBot web app, you can monitor your garden and plan your growing season from anywhere. Our custom sequence editor now supports variables, empowering you with complete freedom and control over how your FarmBot works. Meanwhile, Drag and Drop Farm Designer offers a game-like experience that is quick, intuitive, and fun to use. With built-in data for hundreds of the most common garden veggies, you'll be guided through designing an optimal layout in no time. What's more, with the Saved Gardens feature, you're just one click away from the next growing season and the next and the next. Using the onboard camera and advanced computer vision software, FarmBot can scan your garden multiple times a day, find weeds as soon as they emerge, and then remove them within minutes of being detected. FarmBot Express is 1.2 meters wide and 3 meters in length, perfect for the outdoor classroom, research lab, or small backyard. At 2.4 meters wide and 6 meters in length, Express XL is large enough to make fresh food the centerpiece of your home or school. Best of all, both of these devices are by far our most affordable FarmBots ever. And as always, they're 100% open source. All of our documentation, 3D CAD models, software, and data is free for anyone to use for any purpose. That's because we're committed to building not only a technology that can help feed the world, but a community that is empowered to help out as well. So check out our website to learn more and place your pre-order for FarmBot Express and Express XL today. Thank you.
Okay, I like it. I want to know how much is it?
Exactly.
Because I'm like, y'all talked, and
Yeah.
my plants would not be dying in the backyard, but
And I am not a green thumb person. I was like, this is amazing. I could actually really have something else help me grow this stuff and weed, because I don't know the weeds from it's just not my forte.
but I guess that we have to go to the website to find out, like pricing. But I think it's very useful, and that it's open source and nobody has hijacked the idea and tried to um, uh, monetize it to the point where people can't.
Afford it.
Right.
Yes. And the fact that it's on an individual level. And it was small enough where everybody could have a garden in their backyard that's successful. The one thing I didn't see was like anything over the garden to protect it from birds or whatever, but whatever. Um, but I thought that was fascinating that you could monitor it from your computer based on what it is you're growing. And each plant, there were multiple plants in the bed. So you didn't have to grow just one crop.
Right.
It,
And
it plants the seed, waters the seed, monitors the weeds. I'm like, oh, this is a winner.
right. So I just looked it up online. You had to do a few clicks to get there. But FarmBot Genesis version 1.6 was $34.95, cost of the headsets. It is now $29.95, $2,995.
Well, I like this idea. We have come very far from our agrarian roots. And so the average person being able to effectively grow things things will basically grow themselves if you give them care. But some people don't know, and some people don't have time. Think of somebody who works in an office, all day, and they may not get home until after 7. And then maybe they're the type of person that on weekends they need to do other things. If farming and gardening is not your thing, this could be very helpful.
Yeah.
And it follows you have to have that $3,000 and be able to afford that price point for that to work. But I think it could be very helpful because it is good to have a source of food.
Right. That you control.
And it's reusable year after year.
Right. And so you're spending $3,000 one time. And then there's the cost of the seeds and then the planter box and all of that stuff. But there's a cost to anything that you're going to start up to. There's going to be a startup cost. But over the years, this is genius because, like Dr. Tachi said, I can't run home and do all of this. And now I can get my own basil and I can get my own tomatoes and create my salad and all of that right from my own backyard, and not I don't have to be sloughing and whatever at the grocery store.
And it truly is organic.
Right. It's truly organic. And then the prices at the grocery store, there's the time that you spend in the store trying to buy healthy fruits and vegetables. And then if you have them delivered, there's an additional cost to get them to you. So this ways the $3,000 gets offset over time.
Exactly.
Right. And maybe, this could be a business expense for you as well.
Mm-hmm.
If you're looking at trying to start to cultivate some food for sale, this could be something you could do. Like maybe you're interested in going to different farmers markets or marketing. Like, for example, even though farming is what they do, there's a place here called Miami Fruits or Miami Fruit, and they have all sorts of tropical fruit. Obviously, this is a subtropical climate, so you can grow a lot of different things here. So they have all those different types of things, and that is a business for them. Well, maybe you want to do something like that, but maybe a little more specific. Maybe you want dragon fruit to be your thing, or longans to be your thing. And so you basically then have this. So while you're doing your other things, this is monitoring everything you're doing, and you'll be able to produce things to take to market. So you can see this as a business expense as well.
Yeah, I like it. I think it's very well done.
I was like, what? On an individual level.
And I do not have to try and figure out how to
You know what I mean? And a lot of that, I lost that intellectual capital when my grandmother passed because she could grow anything. But I didn't take advantage of that knowledge and wisdom. And now I have something to help me if I choose to go down that path now. So I thought it was really beneficial too. So there's one more, I'd like to
Stir up stuff.
stir the pot. So let's talk about, these robots on a larger farming level. Um, Robotics, not individual, is not an individual robot going through the crops and doing that. We're talking about the use of AI in farming. So I'm going to share the screen for this, and let's see if it'll start up for us.
Since humans first built tools, we've been chasing a dream. You might say we've got the need for speed. We invented air travel, we broke the sound barrier, we've rocketed to space. Our desire to go further and faster is in our DNA. And yet, our basic form of movement hasn't changed in 6 million years. We still walk the same way our great-great-great-great-grandparents walked. Slowly. The way we walk is stuck in the past. It's time to bring it up to speed.
Hi everyone, my name is Junjie Zhang, founder of Shift Robotics. I've been spending past 5 years trying to find a way to bring walking into the future. Introducing Moonwalkers, the world's fastest shoes. It all started on a day where I was riding a scooter and almost got hit by a car. That's when I started asking myself why I never walked just for 30 minutes. It's not only a safe, convenient, and healthy way of getting around, but also part of who we are. So I made that mission to enhance walking instead of replacing it. I started working as a jet propulsion engineer to really understand how to engineer safety, reliability into a super powerful and smart machines. And then I went on a grad school to study locomotions in Carnegie Mellon's Robotics Institute. And I was fortunate enough to team up with a group of really talented roboticists, race car engineers, and sneak designers to do this only one thing, to pack everything that you find in a Tesla into a form factor of the shoes. So there's no need to balance, just walk faster to accelerate and walk slower to decelerate. To climb upstairs, simply lift your heel to signal into lock mode. And to go back to the shift mode, simply lift and turn your heel. With Moonwalkers, you can walk like a pro in under 10 steps.
So at the heart of the Moonwalkers, we have our state-of-the-art brushless DC motor that sends its power through our gearbox, which is first cast using 350 tons of clamping pressure. Then we machine it to tolerances thinner than the human hair. That power is then sent to the ground through 8 PU wheels. The intuitive control is made possible by having custom control modules in both shoes. Each shoe communicates to each other, passing acceleration and gyro data, and we pass that through a neuromuscular model. So we've spent the last 5 years generating 9 generations of prototypes to take Moonwalkers from concept to production. We've tested these on countless beta testers, covered hundreds of miles of the roughest urban terrain, from cracked sidewalks to gravel. You name it, we've crossed it in our Shift shoes. Despite the global supply chain challenge, we are already in production of some of our early production units using the same suppliers that Tesla even sources from. And we've already procured all the raw materials, all the semiconductors to build our first batch of production units. We have shoes in production today.
We believe in a future where everything can be within our walking distance. And the first step is to help people walk effortlessly at a run speed. So please join us and take one small step for walking, one giant leap for the future of urban mobility. Thank you.
Okay. So while that, I had the wrong video up, but while that was interesting, I thought it was fascinating that they have designed a way to help you walk faster, and it's stabilized, and you can stop and go up steps, and it's basically like automated roller skates, I guess.
They look like the skates that I had when I was a kid, where you put your foot in the
And
skates.
that's what they said. And you strap them on.
Hmm.
They
So
just have a lot more wheels.
now, Dr. Tachi mentioned Marcus Brownlee. He did a review on these, him and his team. And there's stuff like noise that they didn't talk about, when you're
Travel.
when you're walking, it
Mm-hmm.
makes noise. Like, no,
Oh,
they're
the
not
shoe.
quiet.
Oh, okay,
They're
okay.
not quiet. You're not gonna sneak up on nobody. Just- um,
And
and
that might be a good thing because you're going faster than everybody
right,
anyway.
and now you need to tell people on your left and get out the way and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing is it's just like we talked about the headset. They're heavier, so you're going to need to get used to
Lifting your feet,
use.
your knees have to, yes, the
You're
weight.
going to need to get used to being on them. But I can see it as, because I never did understand the concept of why are we on a scooter
Mm. Mm-hmm.
to
Mm-hmm.
go from point A to point B, because people wanted to be on a scooter and they're riding to get wherever they need to go. I do like the idea of walking a little faster, so they're not eliminating you walking.
Exactly. It's sort of like, you know how when you're on those walking, those moving, what do you call those things in the airport where the
Sidewalks or
moving walkways indoors?
People movers.
the people movers.
Thank
Yeah.
you. People movers. Yes. So I thought, okay, this is interesting. And maybe I like robotics because I used to live so close to Carnegie Mellon, and they are really into robotics there in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
But
So, but
each,
and he
each
said,
of but each of the robotics that you presented were doing something to help enhance. And like every new thing, there's always a little bit of a drawback.
and it's usually bulky when it first comes out.
Right, until they figure out, okay, we can make this a little smaller,
a little lighter. Yeah.
Yeah. But I thought I like the idea of being able to walk a little faster. You get to keep on your same shoes, okay? Now, don't try and do it with stilettos or whatever. That's not going to happen. And that's the other thing. You notice a lot of the technologies are with.
I was thinking, gee, I'd be able to keep up with my grandkids at Disneyland,
Or can they keep up with you? Yeah, so I like the idea. Anybody else want to weigh in? And Michelle, Dr. Tachi, I just like,
about these moonwalkers.
Yeah, they're skates pretty much, but they're not.
Basically.
No, you know what they remind me of? The little kid shoes that had the wheels on them, the wheelies.
Yes, on the
I was just thinking about that. They actually pop out.
Yes. Yes.
What about the safety aspect of these?
That's what I was thinking too, because if you don't get that heel down right to go up them steps,
I think
that you have to
stops. You actually stop the skate and then you manually go up the steps and you start them again.
Right. But you have to hit that heel thing right. You have to stop, hit the heel, then go up. So there's a sequence for you to get back up the stairs or whatever. And how do you slow down? You're going to need to know how to.
You can go slow or you can go faster. You can control the speed.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's just like when you're learning to skate, you don't want to just whip out.
It's kind of remember like the movie Speed. Okay, the bus is going now and it can't go below what, but you're gonna have to maneuver. You know what I'm saying? It's a whole new thing that you got walking down, but now I'm walking with wheels under my feet. What do I need to do?
Yes. So I thought that was interesting, and the whole thing of having individualized gardens.
I love the garden, and the skate thing is cool too. It's just that it's getting used to, and maybe it's not for a certain age.
Right.
And it's probably better than the Segway.
I would think. Yeah, because that Segway looked like a balancing act for me.
It's not cute.
In those mobilized scooters, I see them all over. I'm not trying that.
You know, and that just to add to that, I think because I was thinking, all right, well, it's probably better to have something separate from your person in terms of that type of transportation. But then there's the whole other thing of, you know, the scooters like the Lime and all of those ones that the different cities have.
Yes.
People are irresponsible as
Mhm.
anything, and they leave them everywhere.
I do.
One in front of my house. I was like, what? I said, if you don't come get this, I'm throwing it in the trash. They came and got it. But it's just that people can't be trusted to put things back where they're supposed to, where they can reach them anywhere. So in that case, it may be better to have a form of transportation that is on you. So that
Right. Okay. So TJ, I'm filling in for TJ today, and we have some social media news. Unless Dr. Tachi, you need to go next.
If you don't mind, I will go next.
Okay, take it away.
Okay, I have just a few stories. Hello, everyone. We had a guest on Mediascope this week, so we are going to go ahead and go with some stories of what's happening in the world of media. So, according to JP Morgan, Netflix is going to monetize 14 million shared accounts in 2023. As you know, they're cracking down on account sharing. So they're monetizing 14 million non-paying account users in 2023, and that should have increased to 26 million by the end of next year, 2024, and by the end of 2025, 33 million. And this is according to new data from JP Morgan analyst Doug Anmuth. So since launching the option this year that allows subscribers to share their Netflix accounts with non-paying members, this pioneer of media, basically streaming media, is attempting to curb that practice because they say it impacts 100 million of its global subscriber base. So now you already know you can add non-members for $7.99 or call it $8 a month. And some said, that's a whole subscription in and of itself. So I don't know who's going to do this, but this is a move that some observers believe would increase subscriber churn. And you know, churn is members who just don't renew their monthly subscription plan. They get it during a free trial, whatever. They're like, yeah, no thanks. So, but instead, Netflix is eyeing tens of millions of dollars in new revenue, according to Anmuth. So he believes that the new monetization will include a 50-50 split between new subscribers paying the additional fee and non-subscribers paying for access to a subscriber's password. So the latter group doesn't count as an actual paying Netflix subscriber, though. So either way, they're getting that $7.99. So I don't know if I had a chance to ask you, but what do you all think about that whole thing, the $7.99 for shared subscription?
Okay, so I'm gonna weigh in. I have Netflix, and there's nothing that I would pay for an additional $7.99 for. I'm scraping right now to find something to watch with the regular subscription.
So it's about content. It's about do we have enough content that would motivate us to continue to add people to the mix?
That is an important point, and I think not just Netflix, but all streamers not be delusional. I think that Netflix now, it's not the new kid on the block anymore. They are a legacy company because they've been around. I can't remember when they started, but I've had them since at least 2002. So this is well in excess of 20 years that they've been around. So you're no longer the new kid on the block. People are not just going to stick with you because you're Netflix. You do have good programming. I will say that, when you do have programming, but it's so far and few between, especially since you have cut production on a lot of things. You've canceled some shows, and you've had some shows that have ended. So we're not just going to stick with you because you're Netflix. You have to have something for us to stick with you through. And especially I'm not sticking with you and paying an extra $7 or $8 a month, and you don't have anything I want to watch. Yeah.
Yeah. Netflix started in 1997.
97. Okay.
Right.
That was when you were mailing back the little videos.
Right.
I had a friend who was on that plan, and they could keep them as long as they wanted and then mail them back for the next batch.
Right. Then the thing with Netflix being and other places, I'm seeing a lot of old movies on Netflix. And I'm like, okay, those are old. They don't even have any of their originals on there. I'm looking at old content, old. You know how you used to get stars and it was like old stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. So like the classics?
No, not classics, old movies. Like, come on. The Negotiator with Samuel L. Jackson. Really?
Okay.
Stuff that you can find on Tubi for free.
Yes, or Pluto or somewhere. But
exactly. Crackle. And that's the paradox. That there are so many places to get streaming content, and they're all licensing these older movies. So it's not going to fly for me to pay for access to your old library. It's not going to fly. So we'll see. This is going to be extremely interesting. But yes, that is what is happening over there. Let's talk a little bit about Amazon. Amazon Prime Video has top customer satisfaction rankings. Yay! They ranked first place among video streaming services in a new customer satisfaction study from the American Consumer Satisfaction Index. So they posted a customer satisfaction score of 80 out of 100, which is an 8% jump from last year, displacing Disney Top Plus for the top spot.
Whoa.
Disney fell 3%, placing it at in the industry's bottom 3. So Amazon is top among streaming apps according to this satisfaction index. Crackle is at the bottom. I just mentioned Crackle. They're at the bottom. And yeah, they were at the bottom last year as well. So Amazon is followed by Peacock. Netflix is number 4. Paramount Plus, YouTube Premium, HBO Max, Apple TV Plus, and the 3 at the bottom are Disney Plus, ESPN Plus, and Crackle.
Wow.
Yeah, it's quite a game. And no, all of these things, they are subscription based. You have to pay for them. And so there is a real struggle now, but except for, I think there is like a Crackle premium. I'm not sure, but Crackle is free for the most part. So that's interesting. There must be a premium.
Right.
Although like Peacock is free as well, but there is a premium. But they're not looking at it from the point of view of paying. I guess it is for content. So Peacock moved into second place, as you heard, following a 10% increase to 79%. So this is really very, very interesting. Now let's talk about live TV apps where you can get live channels.
Yes.
Live TV apps, the top was Hulu Plus Live TV. Sling is number 2. YouTube TV is number 3. And DirecTV Stream is number 4. Although that's kind of cheating because I still don't consider DirecTV streaming. I still kind of find them cable-ish. But
they are.
They are cable-ish. Not even cable-ish.
They are cable.
They're cable, yeah. So that's kind of cheating, but those are the 4 when it comes to live TV. So interesting. That's what came out of that survey.
Yeah.
Okay. So
streaming.
Speaking of Amazon Prime being on top.
I like Amazon Prime, but go ahead.
Okay. They're actually eyeing an ad-supported subscription tier. I'm not surprised. Everybody is doing it. When Netflix said they were doing it, it became okay for other people to broach that as well. So Amazon Prime Video is reportedly considering an ad-supported subscription option for consumers, which is similar to the move incorporated by Netflix, Disney Plus, and other streaming video on demand services. Prime Video, Disney Plus, and Netflix are the largest streaming video on demand platforms in the world in terms of total subscribers. So Prime Video is available for $8.99 as a separate service from the $14.99 Prime membership that continues to up its original slate, including live sports, shows like The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, which is going away, Citadel, Bosch, and Thursday Night Football. So at the same time, subscriber growth is cooling, and streaming services are looking to remain profitable as content costs continue to escalate. So how do you deal with that? You offer a cheaper tier, but you have to watch some commercials. And I think, like, I'm one that I'm all for cheaper. If that means the thing that I didn't like with Netflix, and I don't know if they've made any changes, is that their cheaper tier leaves out some content. And my thing is, if I'm paying with my time and watching a commercial, I ought to get the same thing because I'm still paying. It's not like it's free. I'm paying something. So if I'm paying something, I expect to get the same because although I'm not paying the same amount as a full subscription, I'm paying with my time and my eyes. And you're putting that in front of me and you're getting money for that. So you're getting my subscription fee plus whatever you're charging the advertiser, which I believe is $35 CPM per 1,000 views, which is pretty good. So you're not losing with that. So give me everything that you're giving them. I'm paying too. So original content spending reached $7 billion in 2022, according to Amazon, and that included a reported $715 million in production and license costs alone for the first season of Lord of the Rings: The Rings of Power. Amazon also is spending $1 billion a year for the exclusive rights to TNF. I don't know what that is, but do you all? I don't.
No.
I have no clue. So I haven't seen it. So TNF. So the launch of a possible ad-supported streaming video on demand tier is in the early stages for them, but the option remains a priority to them, according to Media Play News and the Wall Street Journal. So if you didn't know, and I think you did because I talked about this before, Amazon operates Freevee, which is formerly IMDb TV, and that offers free access to largely ad-supported catalog programming, with the exception of Jury Duty, which is an original comedy for them. So that is what's happening. Hey, Kevin Williams, how are you?
Hey, Kevin.
We're talking a little bit of media news. All right, so moving on. Terry Crews debuts a super serious creative shop with ad agency veterans. And I'm glad it is about time because Terry Crews, look, when you're an actor, you need to be more than an actor because you are then at the whims of whatever is going on with the job situation next. So if you didn't know, he's a former pro athlete. He turned actor, TV host, and he now has made a splash in the advertising world in the classic Old Spice commercials. So his interest in the industry is peaked. And now he is actually launching his own ad shop called Super Serious. Yeah, I think that is really cool. As I said, you have to be more than a one-horse carriage. What is the saying?
One-trick pony.
Oh, there you go. You know me and that idioms. Yeah, so one-trick pony. You've got to have several lines of income going. And to me, the next step outside of acting and hosting and doing things is having something of your own, whether it's a production company, whether it's an ad agency like this, which is a super great idea because advertising is what pays for media. So if you can do this, I think that makes total sense. So that's what's happening over on Terry Crews's cruise. Yeah. That's what he's doing over there. So it is his own ad shop, and it is called Super Serious. Moving on, so I want to try and get through these quickly. I think everybody is really excited about Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Man coming out. So they have enlisted creators to help bring fans closer to it. So this is done by Sony Pictures Entertainment, and it's wildly so. Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse imagines a whole different multiverse populated with wildly different versions of Spider-Man. Now, we saw that with Into the Spider-Verse, if you watch that, which I absolutely loved. So to capture the film spirit, they teamed up with a content creation platform called Tongle to enlist 6 animators from around the world to recreate the trailer. So they put out a call to the global network of animators and asked them to submit personal statements explaining how they would put their spin on the trailer. They looked over 88 submissions. Wow, okay. And they chose 6 winners who were each assigned a 15-segment of the trailer to reproduce. So the winners included Iana Lashenko, a Russian refugee living in Montenegro who made a hand-drawn flick book. Neto and Gabriela Rodriguez, a married Brazilian couple who produced stop-motion animation using crocheted puppets. And Indian 3D animator Jose Jacob. This is really interesting to me. So Sony cut their work together to create a new version of the trailer and began sharing it across their social channels in May. Now you can take a look at this. It is, where is this? Adweek has it. If you look this story up, I can post it, but it's probably on YouTube as well. It's Tongle, Tongal times Sony, and type Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse trailer, and this will pop up for you on YouTube. Now, each creator was paid $6,000 and was tagged in their section of the trailer, which ranged from the watercolor verse to the felt verse. It's really, really cool. So James DeJulio, who's the founder of Tongle, said it's really important to us that the creators are treated fairly, that they're compensated, and that we're providing a safe environment for everyone to do this sort of thing. So check these out. I think I love stop motion animation. As tiring as it is, I've only ever done one in my life. And by hour 2, I was done. Which ended up being like, did I even get 2 minutes out of that 2 hours? I think I got up to 2 minutes. But it's tiring, but it is, when you see it come together, it is really very rewarding. So I'm excited to see the stop motion part of it. I'm excited to see the 3D. So good for you, and congrats to the winners. Yes.
There we go.
Finally, one last thing I want to mention is that Unilever, the ad group Unilever, is pledging to encourage disabled creators into the ad industry. So more than 62% of content creators from intersectional disabled communities are interested in working in advertising, according to Unilever. However, 90% working behind the camera. However, 90% of those working behind the camera to bring creative stories to life say that the industry attitudes and preconceptions impact how included they feel on production sets. So to address this, Unilever has launched the Inclusive Set Commitment, which is a pledge that mandates all productions over $106,000 or 100,000 euros will include at least one person with a disability as part of the production crew. I think that is phenomenal.
That's great.
About diversity and inclusion, we only think about it usually in terms of ethnicity, in terms of race, in terms of gender, and we don't think about abilities and differently able people. So I love to see this. Good for you, Unilever. I hope you lead the way for more in this realm. And that's what I have for you this afternoon.
All right. Thank you very much.
Wow.
And I'm stepping in for TJ today with our social media news this week. Are we ready to go?
Well, before we do that, we have a comment from Linda.
Okay.
Over here. She says, Roku is expensive for senior citizens. We purchase something just to find out that we need to purchase more. However, if you don't, you'll only have movies and not other programming. So she's concerned about, the whole thing with these streaming services.
Can I address this?
Yes, ma'am.
So again, I look at it in terms of myself. You're right. There with a Roku box, with a Fire Stick, with any of these things, there is an initial investment. However, once you do that initial investment, if that is something that you can do, and I would say catch sales, you can often find like a Fire Stick for like $20. Same thing with Roku. They often have sales. So I would wait till there are sales at different places, Best Buy, Amazon, etc. Purchase then. And then there are a lot of these free streaming services like Pluto, like Freevee, etc., that have programming that is free. If you're looking for live TV, that live in the moment, that could be an issue. It probably is also an issue if you're trying to get your local channels, but then that's where an antenna steps in. Make the initial investment of getting an antenna, because even though I have a Roku, I have a Fire Stick, I have connected TVs that are connected to all of this. You can also just go and to your local store and get a plain old antenna.
Right.
And pick up, like my antenna picks up 62 channels.
Right. And Walmart is an excellent place to get it. And it's very cost effective for an antenna from Walmart.
Mhm.
Absolutely. And this is not to belittle the fact that any amount that you spend is money gone. Some people I can't spend $20 on that. Absolutely, I get it. But maybe look at sometimes people are even giving away antennas and things on places like there's an app called Free Stuff, and you just have to look. Sometimes you can catch people on Facebook Marketplace giving things away and see if that works. So if that's prohibitive, then go the old-fashioned antenna route.
Right. Thank you, Dr. Tati. And Linda, I hope that answered your question or addressed your concern. All righty then. Social media news this week. Instagram. Meta released a look at Instagram's upcoming Twitter competitor. One of Meta's top executives showed employees preview of the company's upcoming Twitter competitor during a company-wide meeting today that was watched by The Verge. The new standalone app will be based on Instagram and integrated with ActivityPub, the decentralized social media protocol. That will theoretically allow users of the new app to take their accounts and followers with them to other apps that support ActivityPub, including Mastodon. The forthcoming app, which in the meeting today, Meta Chief Product Officer Chris Cox called Our Response to Twitter, will use Instagram's account system to automatically populate a user's information. The internal code name for the app is Project 92, and its public name could be Threads. Glad it ain't something else that they...
Didn't we have something called Threads? But that's okay. Go ahead.
We've been hearing from creators and public figures who are interested in having a platform that is sanely run, that they believe that they can trust and rely upon for distribution, Cox says, throwing direct shade at Elon Musk's handling of Twitter to cheers from the audience. He said the company's goal for the app was safety, ease of use, reliability, and making sure that creators have a stable place to build and grow their audiences. Cox said the company already has celebrities committed to using the app, including DJ Slime, and was in discussions with other big names, including Oprah and the Dalai Lama. Okay. Okay. One of the things I wanted to mention that was not in TJ's story is I had an experience. Who was I talking to? Oh, Pat Murray. I haven't talked to Pat in a while. And she says, I'm not getting your notifications. And I said, I'm not getting yours. And then it dawned on me, I get a notification on YouTube every time somebody goes live or every time somebody puts up a new video. I said, you know what? Follow us on YouTube and I'll follow you on YouTube. So if you're looking at people getting your notifications when you go live or whatever, perhaps you should start pushing people to YouTube. Just a thought.
Okay.
Because it wasn't happening with Facebook and Instagram. Anyway, ChatGPT comes to iPad, adds support for Siri and shortcuts. Less than a month after it's released on the App Store, OpenAI's ChatGPT app is getting its first big update. The new version brings native iPad support to the AI chatbot app, as well as support for using ChatGPT with Siri and shortcuts. Drag and drop is now also available, allowing users to drag individual messages from ChatGPT into other apps. The latter could be useful in iPad split screen mode. For instance, you could ask GPT for answers in one window and then drag its replies to another. On iPad, ChatGPT now runs in full screen mode, optimized for the tablet's interface. This change, along with drag and drop, will likely make it preferable to using the web browser version of the chatbot, which is what many iPad users were doing instead of today's release. The update could also drive incremental new downloads of the ChatGPT app, which had popped to the top of the App Store right out of the gate with 500,000 installs in less than a week from its debut. The ChatGPT mobile app has proven to have staying power in the App Store in the weeks since its launch. In the US, the app is still number 4 on the App Store's top free charts, for example, and has a 4.8 star rating across 421,000 ratings and reviews, a figure that's hard to achieve for any app. Do anybody ever give reviews on apps?
Not really.
Estimates from third-party app intelligence provider data.ai indicate the app has now seen 7.3 million worldwide installs on iOS and hasn't left the top 5 in the US since its debut. The app is now also number 1 overall in 31 countries worldwide. WhatsApp. Twitter's new verification system has blue and gold check marks. The newest feature, I think this is WhatsApp. The newest feature in WhatsApp brings a very different kind of messaging to the world's most popular chat app. It's called Channels, and it's designed specifically for one-to-many broadcasts rather than conversation. The Meta-owned company calls it a private way to follow what matters and names local and sports updates among the ways you might use it. It's a Twitter feed minus all the metrics and replies. WhatsApp sees Channels as a drop-in replacement. Channels is also a creator tool, a place for those with an audience to send text, photos, videos, stickers, and polls, according to WhatsApp's launch blog post. The company has plans to build payment and other monetization services into Channels too. You'll be able to find Channels by searching for them in WhatsApp or by browsing in a newly created directory and see their most recent updates in the status section of the app. WhatsApp says privacy is a key part of the experience, which is why the channel admin information isn't shared, and the app only stores 30 days worth of Channels history. Admins can even block screenshots and forwards, making sure that what's in the channel stays in the channel. Channels aren't end-to-end encrypted.
Okay.
They're treated more like your messages with businesses, which are also not totally private. Okay, so is that like a slight underhand way of saying it ain't encrypted? And
Well, I mean, it's not a slight way. It's telling you it's not encrypted end to end. So, you're subject to be.
so your messages are
Not private.
private.
Exactly.
One final thing with WhatsApp, it has launched a new Security Hub mini site, which provides a complete overview of the various safety and security tools available in the app to help you manage your WhatsApp experience. The Security Hub includes an overview of WhatsApp's default safety elements, along with its various user control options to enhance your messaging security. There are also tips on how to avoid spammers and scammers and unwanted attention, as well as links to the platform's various usage policies. As per WhatsApp, around the world, businesses, individuals, and governments face persistent threats from online fraud, scams, and data theft. Malicious actors and hostile states routinely challenge the security of our critical infrastructure. End-to-end encryption is one of the strongest possible defenses against these threats. And as vital institutions become ever more dependent on internet technologies to conduct core operations, the stakes have never been higher. It is with this in mind that WhatsApp's new security hub provides even more guidance for individual users, which could give you more peace of mind while also protecting your chats. Okay, so just reading that means that you don't have to protect your own stuff. We are not end-to-end encrypting anything, but we're going to tell you how to turn it on, is what that sounded like.
That's what it sounded like to me too. Oh my gosh.
Okay. But other companies do end-to-end encryption. They just not doing it
over there.
Right. Okay. Then that is your week in tech, media, and social media. Anybody have a comment on that? I don't use WhatsApp that often.
I do not either.
But I don't like the fact that it's not end-to-end encrypted. So, anywho.
Well, maybe that's to keep down a lot of interesting things, because it's international for the most part. A lot of, international transactions take place.
Yes, but it's not end-to-end encrypted, so that's not helping your cause.
Especially if you're sending money. I'm like,
I'm not sending money.
That's interesting. I do have a question, and this has nothing to do with any of the articles that you brought up, Fran, and that is, did you hear the news this morning about how Uber is going to start letting people lease cars through them? Put their, like Turbo, you can put your car on.
Uber.
And they started in Boston and somewhere else. They picked 2 cities, and then they're going to spread across the country.
So they're coming for Turo.
Exactly. And not only that, now you can think about, do I want to develop a fleet of cars to just lease out?
Let them use your cars.
Yeah.
I had not. Has anybody else heard that?
That was this morning. It was on the news. So I said, okay, let me ask her about this, because, we like Uber. And I think that they keep expanding into they keep diversifying. That's the word I want to use.
And we have a comment from Kevin here. He says, WhatsApp channel sounds really interesting, but I'm ready and waiting for Instagram's alternative, and anybody else is Twitter alternative for that matter. And I think one that's out there right now is a fan base, which is really good. It just, not a lot of people are talking about it, but it incorporates all of Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and some other things. And it started by Isaac Hayes III, I believe. And I have an account over there. I just haven't been putting anything on it yet. So that is it. That is your...
Okay, we have one last comment from Linda. How you doing, Linda? She says, thanks so much. I'm on it, hand pink waving. I think she's talking about the fact that she is on.
She's on the Roku. She got her answer for Roku.
Okay.
All right. So we will see everybody on Monday. Thank you for tuning in. You could have been anywhere else on the planet, but you were here with us, and we appreciate that. And once again, if you want to join BizChicks, just text biz to 33777 or go to bizchicks.net and join the community. Appreciate your time. We will see you again on Monday.
All right, everybody. Have a great day. Remember, it's okay to make money in your business. We'll see you later.